Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Silver, and I've been helping out the people from the Microsoft Team Education Forum on Facebook. And something popped in yesterday that really kind of piqued my curiosity. And I says, well, you know what? I deal with this thing on the day to day on the business side, but how can I actually maybe help something with the teacher out there? And I'm not aware of how the Microsoft education system on Microsoft Team tenant works, so I'm just making guesses. But whatever I'm going to be demonstrating here, it kind of will apply as well for any kind of business per se. So one of the questions that we had yesterday is, can we use Microsoft planners to help our students to keep track of the work they need to do and stuff like that? So I know there's something called assignment, which is a little bit different because which I actually don't know what it is. But the idea is that you're assigning a task to somebody and you're making a plan and you tell that person you have certain numbers of days to do this task. So there is a tool from Microsoft. It's called Planner, and Planner is built in with all of the Microsoft Team environment. And what brought me the idea is that why not maybe try to use Planner to do this? So in this scenario, I have a tenant called Summer School, and I've got multiple tabs. But the tab that I really want to show you is really the Planner tab, and it comes with your subscription, and it's very straightforward to use. And I'm just going to show you an example of assigning creating a task. So it's as simple as from the Planner environment, you add a task, and you say something like go read book one. And I can assign it as due, and it's going to be due on the 26th of August. And I can assign it to somebody. So I have a student called Bob Hope. Again, this is a test environment, and that's really all there is. So now I click on the add task, and now there's a go read book, but I could have another student called Eric that also need to go and read the book. So I can say, go read book one, and I can assign a due date of the 26th again if I wanted to, and I can assign it to Eric. So this scenario is maybe I can create tasks that I can have multiple tasks that I can assign to my student during the week, and I can drive the task in a way that maybe I can say, okay, I've got these 5 tasks and I want all my students to do it. Oh, I don't want to repeat the step over and over and over. So how do I get there? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that from the perspective of the task, it's a matter of creating the task, and then when the user logs in on their system, they'll actually be able to see uh, their task assigned to them. But if Bob Hope was logged in, he could click on the checkbox and says, "I'm done with my work," and I guess I've already read the book, so I'm actually done with me reading my book. Now, Planner is a lot more than what I've just shown you, but for the purpose of the demonstration, I just want to show you that you got some tools out there, not that you can flexible and make it work the way you open to do. Now, one word of caution, this is a little bit tricky and that requires some experience. So I don't expect anyone to just never just started with Microsoft Team that would be able to run with that. But I'm just showing this as a potential idea that other people can actually expand on that. So Microsoft Team, as you all know, is you can create chat, you can create files, but behind all the Microsoft Teams site, there's also a SharePoint site. Now, SharePoint site is really the same backend system that Microsoft Team created. But in Microsoft, there's something called a SharePoint list. And I think the concept is as similar as when you're using a spreadsheet and a list, a row is an item of data that you're keeping track of. In SharePoint, there's something called a SharePoint list, and then you can create items that allows you to keep track of things. And you can keep track of as many things as you want from within the environment of SharePoint. Remember, SharePoint site is list, and Microsoft Team includes SharePoint. Now, within the next few weeks, and this is in August, Microsoft has come up with something called Microsoft Lists. And Microsoft List is really Microsoft attempt to bring in the list concept into Microsoft Teams and across all of their environment. This demonstration at this moment in time is not demonstrating Microsoft list, but it's built in into the system as you have right now. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up the tab a bit on the top because, I don't really care about the wiki. So I can click on that one and I'm going to remove it. And now this is no longer available. So uh, what's important now is that what do we need to do to be able to generate these tasks? I need to know uh, who my students are. Now, you could say you could have students from your groups and for your attendancy of your Microsoft team and your members of that Microsoft team. At this moment in time, I'm not trying to integrate with that. I'm just trying to keep it as simple. So we need something in SharePoint to keep track of the team, the class roster. Then I also need to know, I'm going to have some templates. So maybe I'm going to have a series of templates of tasks for math and a series of tasks for English. So I've already brought the concept here of I've got students roster, I've got templates, and then I also going to say that the templates could have more or one things that needs to be done for that template. So without going to the detail at this moment in time, I'm going to show you that I've got 3 different lists in SharePoint that allows me to keep track of that. So the first one is the class roster. This is a simple SharePoint list, and all it has is the name of the nickname of the person and then the pointer to that person that is in that student. So as an example, Eric Silver and Bob Opes are the class roster in my class. Now, I can add another one, and then I think the name is Susie. And then basically I need to point out to who that Susie person is in the actual system. So if I look for Susie, I got someone called Susie Curtis. And now Susie is now a new student in my class. Remember, this is not your team's membership. This is just a SharePoint list on its own. So I've got the list of people. I got their email address, who they are. So the next thing I would do is I want to look at the taskmaster. So remember we talked about the template. So here I have an example, 3 tasks, but they belong to 2 different templates. There's my math weekly and my English weekly. So for the math weekly, I'm saying that all you're gonna have is a task that say review next week assignment. And I'm giving you 2 days to do this. Now, remember, this is your prototype. So what do you do when you're coming on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday? I'm just trying to explain the concept here. So here I'm saying I'm giving them 2 calendar days to make this task to be created. And also, I've got 2 templates, but I can also do something in SharePoint list where I say, show me just for math weekly. And then I've got just the task for the task template. So this is a database system as well. So I'm going to remove the filter and then I'm going to clear out. And now I'm actually going to create a new task. And this new task is going to be as simple as, this is going to be a math test. It says review cue cards. And I'm going to give them 4 days to do that. And then I'm going to have to pick what template I'm going to be doing this. And this is going to be math template. So I'm going to save that. So right now we've got a template for math and a template for English. And I got 2 tasks around there. So if you remember what I did when I created this one on the new assignment, it actually allowed me to show on the right side a drop down that allows me to pick what's the task template. So what is a task template? Well, there's another tab called task template. And all it is just a label, Math Weekly and English Weekly. Try to keep it as simple as possible, but you can have a lot more logic in there. But all I'm trying to do here is just demonstrating the concept that you've got templates, you've got students associated, and then you've got tasks associated with template. So there's a bit of magic behind the scene, and it's called something called Microsoft Power Automate. And Microsoft, it's called Power Apps actually. And no, it's Power Automate. And basically it's a programming language and it's called visual, and it allows you to create these rules that would say, grab me a list of all the students, grab me a list of all the tasks, and then create all the planner tasks. So what I'm going to show you is the end result of what this would look like if I was going to create the task. So I'm going to go to my planner tab, and as you can see, there's no current task in there. So in SharePoint, you can trigger the flow or trigger the little programming code to say, create the tasks for this template. So I'm going to go to my task master, and actually that's not the one I want. I want to go to my task template. So here in Microsoft Teams, it's got a little bug, and you can't trigger the template immediately from the flow directly from the UI. So what one has to do is you have to go and open this into the SharePoint site. So you see when I click on the little three dot and I say view this inside SharePoint instead of the Microsoft Teams client. So all it is just changes the overall look and feel of that page, and then showing you that these are the records. So in that scenario, all I need to do is I can select the template I want to use, and then there's a little thing called automate, and it says, oh look, it picked up a bunch of programs I've written, and one of them is called the create planner tasks. So if I trigger this, then what's going to happen is on the right side, it's going to ask me some questions, and I can help out. So here it's asking, enter a prefix to the generate task. It will help the student identify the work that needs to be done for that week. Now, why would that be important? Now, if you say you rerun this every week, maybe you want to prefix the task with maybe week 1 or week 2 or week 3. So in this scenario, I'm going to call it week 1. You can use whatever label you want, but the idea is that label will be appearing in front of the task when they look at the planner. So all you have to do is click on run the flow, and it's running in the background, and probably about a minute or two, the record will automatically be created by the Flow engine or Microsoft Automate, and the records will be out there in the planner. Now, I'm demonstrating this inside the browser, so remember I'm looking at the browser version of the Microsoft Teams. So when I look at my browser version for Microsoft Teams, I need to look at my planner. So if I go look on my planner, and if it worked, sure enough, oh, it looks like I got a little bit bugged. But the concept behind that is that you've got records that are created. Bob Hope has 3 tasks assigned to it, and I've got my own sets of tasks as well. And as you can see, they're all different, and they all have week 1. Now, the reason why these guys are incorrect is this was for Susie, and look like Susie's record is incorrect. It doesn't matter for the demonstration, but at least it shows you that for Bob, then there will be those tasks, and for me as Eric Silver, I have those tasks. Now, why is that important? Because the task is assigned to me. When I go to my planner window, I can see all the tasks that everybody has assigned to me, and it will be appearing in one place. So how is that useful? Guess what? You could have multiple teacher and multiple environment creating tasks for the student, but they ought to be able to see it in one place. And let me see if I can make this work. If I go to the left side there, I want to open up my planner tab. And sure enough, it's showing you all my tasks assigned to me. So that's a very powerful centralized environment. So if you've got students and you've got multiple teachers and you did that system, then the student will be able to see all the tasks across all the teachers they're getting and stuff like that. So I'm going to go back to my team side. And then as a manager, I can see all these tasks, but evidently I'm done with this because this is not the correct one. So I'm just going to mark them as complete. So Bob Hope has these tasks and Eric has those tasks. Now, how does this work for us? How did all of this functionality work? So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. In SharePoint, you can create what I call Power Automate. And I'm going to spend no more than 5 minutes on that. But I think if you've got the gumption, we can explore a little bit more how that works. But I'm going to lose you, but I'm going to try it anyway. So if I go into my templates, I go to, you go to Microsoft Flow, Microsoft Power Automate. So I click on that little three dots at the bottom left corner. And then there's one called, where is this? All the apps. And as you can see, you've got a lot of apps. But the one that I want to look at is Automate. Where is this monster? There we go. So as the author of the flow, I created the flow. And that's a whole complex process. But I'm going to, basically, this is like a mini program. So when I trigger the record, it executes this little program that I'm going to be showing you. So I'm going to edit the program, and it's very visual, Power Automate, and it's basically saying this is visually what's happening. So this is not a course on how to use Power Automate, but I'm going to try to give you an idea of what's happening here. Because remember when we select the record and we went over here, in the Sharepoint list and we say start the flow, well, that's triggering the beginning call for a selected item. So basically what it did is it's a template and it's asking you where's the site, where's the list, and like an example of the question, it says enter a prefix for the generate task. I typed it in there. Now, the next step, it flows visually. So maybe if you've seen some of those Scratch environment, it's saying, okay, what do I do for that selected item? I'm going to initialize a variable. So I need a variable to keep track of how many days in the future I want to create the task. So the next thing to do is I'm going to use a function of Sharepoint to say, get me a list of all the students in my school, in my team. So this is simply say for this site, remember the list of the class roster? Well, this is where all my people are. So I say, get me all the students. And then I say, get me all the tasks for the template. So at this moment in time, I was not very smart and filtering out, only show me the task for just the template is selected. The code right now is select every task. So there should be something that would say, only show me the task for maybe math, or only show the task for the English. This is a prototype. I only spent about an hour to doing this. So this is kind of me trying to get something out there so you can look at the stuff. So this is where the next step. See, remember now I've got a list of students and I've got a list of tasks associated with the template. So the next step is I'm going to loop through all my students and I'm going to loop for all my tasks associated with the template. I filtered it properly. And the crux of creating the planner task is all done in this little environment over here. And it basically say, create a task for the student. And here it's asking me, well, where's the plan? So my plan is the summer school plan that I created. It says, what's the plan ID? It's summer school because I use the same name. And you remember I picked up the name? I say, the name of the task is equal to the prefix, which is what you entered before, the title of the task, and I'm also trying to give the idea of which task it was created. So as part of creating a task, you can specify what bucket it goes to. Evidently, you can go to the to-do, but you can have as many buckets as you want. Future functionality. However, what's really important is that, remember in a task, we specify how many days there is. Well, the days tell you that I've got 2 or 3 days, depending on the task that I'm trying to do. And remember, I'm getting a list of all the students. Well, here, I'm simply substituting the email address of the student that is part of the loop, and then it's repeating this. So if you have 4 tasks, 3 students, it would run this thing 12 times, and each of those will end up being a task that will be added to the Microsoft Planner. And technically, that's all there is to that flow. So the most important thing is to show you that when you're working Microsoft Team, you've got a flow engine, and an engine allows you to automate some of your functionality. Is it reachable for everybody out there? I doubt very much, but is it learnable, yeah. And maybe one of the things I hope to do is maybe I can come up with a concept, and maybe some of the teachers out there that are open to try it, we can maybe work together as a project to make this functionality working. So I'm going to go back and just going to show you a different scenario. I'm going to get rid of Susie because it looks like Susie's causing me a lot of trouble. So I'm going to get rid of Susie. So I went back in the SharePoint and I delete the record in SharePoint for Susie. So I'm going to create another one for the math. Remember, I'm not filtering it right now, so it does all of them. So I'm going to go to the task master and I'm going to go with the template. And then I'm going to say I want to run the English one. So remember, we cannot trigger it with the Microsoft team, but you have to open it inside SharePoint. So we need to go, okay, how are we going to do that? Open the SharePoint. And then I'm going to run the measure weekly. And then the trigger, again, is pick on automate. And then you say create my planner tasks. And it's asking me a question. I'm going to call it week 2 and run it. And that's how you inject the stuff in the system. This is just a concept. Let's actually see if it works. I go to my planner. Teams. The planner. And this should be all the tasks for week 2. So that's a concept. If there's any question you have about this, you can reach me out on the Facebook group. You can see that, or you can send an email at this email address. I don't promise you I'm going to look at them all the time right now, but that's how you can reach me a private email. My suggestion is reaching me out to the Facebook site, and then I'll be able to respond to you. I'm sure you have any question. If you have any question, add them to the topic that I just added on the Facebook site. And I'm going to also implement and show you the video of what I've seen there. Again, the name is Eric Silver. I'm a Microsoft team specialist. I work in the private sector, and hopefully this will help you out. If you have any question, reach out to me. Thank you for your time.